You have arrived to the Plunge Into Prosperity podcast, where sacred wisdom meets regenerative wealth. I'm your host, Brandy Koloski of Sacral Capital. Now let's plunge in. Welcome back to Plunge Into Prosperity. I'm Brandy Koloski, founder and GP of Sacral Capital and Sacral Sisters. Thank you again for being here. Whether this is your first listen or you've been with us from the start, today I'm sitting across from someone who understands something most marketers don't, that scaling isn't just a left brain exercise, it takes both sides. She is the CEO of Right Left Agency, a global digital marketing firm that turns B2B and SaaS brands into industry leaders through data-driven strategy and creative that actually converts. She is also a fellow podcast host. The name of her show? How They Scaled It. She has spent more than a decade inside the mechanics of brand growth, from CPG campaigns to franchise marketing, from e-commerce to full funnel B2B. She started as a marketing consultant in 2013 and built her way to the corner office. Courtney, I want to start the way I always start, because in a world of 30 second scrolls and 1,000 things competing for someone's attention, I believe in earning the listener's time up front. So I'm asking you directly. For those that are new here, Courtney, tell them why they should continue listening to this particular episode of Plunge Into Prosperity.
Thank you so much for the kind intro. I think you should keep listening if you just want really straightforward answers, no buzzwords, no gatekeeping of what I've done for my success, and I think it'll be a good show.
I agree. When you and I first met, it was just so easy talking to you, even though it was just for a few minutes, and I was just excited to go deeper with you. So, with that being said, our next questions that we always like to go deeper on is, let's go with, what is your version of prosperity? And when did you figure that out? When was that plunge? When was that pivotal moment or breakdown into breakthrough for you to feel what prosperity truly currently is for you?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and it makes when we first talked about it, it really made me think about like what does that mean? Because I think a lot of people tie prosperity to money or directly to their work. And I find prosperity in everything outside of the work. So the work that I do allows me to have so much more freedom and so much more power outside of my work. I live in a small town and I'm able to make a big impact here.
Hmm.
I'm able to relax. I'm able to make things with my hands. I'm able to create things that are completely untied to my wealth or to my income. And I think that that's where I feel the most prosperous is in my free time.
Yeah.
And build like that took a long time for me to get there, because I think that for a long time, anytime I wasn't doing something directly related to the agency, building the agency, doing work, sitting in front of a computer, I
Mm-hmm.
felt so much anxiety and so much stress that I wasn't doing enough for my own prosperity. And I think maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, something really clicked
Mm-hmm.
where I was kind of forced to take some time off.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came back, everything was fine. Nothing was on
Right?
my everything was great. If I had been there or not been there, like it didn't really make a difference. And what it showed me was that if I built a company and the team was able to manage on their own, and it kind of like opened my eyes. So I think that was kind of the big thing that
Mm.
changed for me.
Yeah, trusting that process for sure. And so, thank you for sharing that. I know that it does get a little interesting. I know that when I do launch my fund and I hit that 50% of the 110 million called in, I've already told myself that I'm doing a 7 or 10 day Vipassana, which is like 7 or 10 days of silence, like a meditation retreat in India. I know I'll be gone for 2 weeks easy, and I'm putting my phone away because I know that I have created a well-oiled running machine, and it's just going to be that. That's it. And I'll just
Yeah.
want to celebrate, internally with myself. So I get you. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's a
Mhm.
lot of like trust within yourself too. I think that that was like, it's not only am I trusting my team, but I've trusted myself to build this thing that
Mhm.
if it falls apart in 2 weeks because I'm gone, it probably wasn't very good to begin with. And I
Yes,
know I built something good. So, it's like, what's stopping me?
very much so. So let's go back to the beginning because we want to start at the top there. 2013. a marketing consultant, trying to figure it out, what actually drives the way people connect with brands. Walk me through that arc and what were you building toward before you even knew what it was?
Yeah. Well, so my business partner and I, we had been working at this terrible company. We did not enjoy working at. It was very toxic. And then she quit and I quit. Everyone kind of left and we went off and did our own thing. And she started the agency, but I was just doing some freelance marketing consulting. And eventually I came back and to the agency as it is now. And our goal with the agency really was not only to have like some work-life balance, but also to like support smaller businesses. We
Mhm.
saw that if you can be kind of scrappy and able to pivot quickly, you can actually do
Mhm.
quite a bit with
Yes.
digital marketing. So we focus on online ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, and trying to really like work with smaller businesses to just give them a little bit of a leg up and give them an experience similar to what they would get with a larger agency
Right.
at a much lower cost.
Yep.
And so it really came out of that and seeing the excitement of our clients because they got to do things that larger companies or the competitors were doing at a cost that they could afford. And it helped them really build them and like,
Mhm.
which was really cool and exciting for us. And so that scrappiness is really built into the DNA of the agency. And so that's how we kind of kept building and building and started building on more services to because if you have good ads, but you have a bad
Yeah.
landing page, nothing works. So we kind of
Uh-huh.
started tacking on different services and getting really good at them and finding the right people for those things, which I think is
Yes.
the hardest part. I'm sure you know, building the
Yep.
team is the hardest thing.
Yeah, I own well, I we talked about this. I owned an agency before as well, marketing, PR, business development, and social media and ad campaigns. I worked for a global agency, and I was given all the Trump properties and like JetBlue, Avianca, all these big brands. And then I got Employee of the Year globally out of like all 52 cities. And then, but in my I was in Miami at the time, and everyone in Miami that were local businesses, they were like they wanted my services or my touch. Yet the agency that I was working at, they are $500,000 or not half a like yeah, $500,000 campaigns to multi-million-dollar campaigns. And so I went to my boss and we were had a really great relationship. He was my mentor at that time, growing into that. And I said, "Hey, what do you think about me leaving, start my own?" My father was an entrepreneur, so I already had that bug. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll definitely send you all the people that can't afford us." you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And so that's what grew my agency, and I loved working for them. So that goes into, he was maybe the right and I was the left side.
Yeah.
you know? So that goes with the name of your agency. I love that name, right left agency. Left brain, right brain. Logic, creativity, was that the
Mhm.
intention? What does it represent to you about the way marketing actually works?
Yeah. Well, so I think that it kind of takes the two things that we like the most. So we're very analytical people. Like I'm very type A, very
Mhm.
analytical. We love a spreadsheet, love the numbers, but also it's so like we're also very creative. Like I think it's just like the duality of man. Like people are both things.
It's very rare though to be right and left brain at the same
Yes.
time. It is. So we are
Yeah.
specials.
But it was kind of like this is truly how marketing works because they're it's very visual, it's storytelling, it's very creative, but the thing that is driving that creative and helping us make decisions is ultimately data. So we're all about testing creatives. Like that's what we're doing. And I think testing creatives is just
Yeah, A/B
left
testing.
and
Are you
right.
doing ABCD or AB?
Yeah.
How many?
It depends on the budget.
Yeah,
But
you're
yeah,
right.
like
Yeah,
4 or
yeah,
5
yeah.
creatives at a time going. But it's we feel that you can't have one without the other. There are a lot of creative agencies out there that make beautiful stuff, but they
Yes.
don't think about, like, the after it's out there, like, how to judge what's happening. And then there's other agencies that only look at the data, and so we try to make it very clear that we're both sides of the brain.
Yeah, very much so. And then with did you start the podcast how they scaled it? As it your own thing or is it part of the agency?
It's part of the agency. So what I found was that like and you probably experienced this too, where all day I talk to CEOs. I talk to people who are like struggling and I talk to a lot of startups. We work with a lot of startups. There are a lot of people who are like in funding and they all have the same problems, but they all think their problems are unique. And so I was like,
That's
I thought
hilarious.
that would be a good topic for the podcast is just CEOs of startups who've scaled something, so like have been through it, just like talking about what their experience was so that other founders, entrepreneurs, CEOs could see themselves a little bit and feel a little bit less
Yes.
lonely. 'Cause it's
Yes.
a really lonely job,
Yep.
and that kind of connection kind of led to it, but it's through the agency.
Yeah. That's awesome. And here you are on the other side of the mic. What's
Yes.
it like being a guest? And what's the one thing you've learned from interviewing others that changed the way you run right left?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, being on the other side is a lot easier because there's no prep work. You're just kind of talking, which is fine.
Yeah, that is a true. That is true. Yes, yes, yes.
But I think that what I have, like, I really enjoy doing the podcast. And even if no one ever listened to it, I think every
Yeah.
conversation I have is so helpful because there's all these different perspectives. And I think what I've learned the most is that it really comes down to relationships and partnerships. So for me, my business partner, Alex, she is like, I love her so much. And we've really been together for since the beginning of our careers. And I'm so grateful for that because it's so much, I don't know if it's easier, but it's so much, for me, it's been better to have someone to constantly be able to talk to.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that I've spoken to, they've had good partners, bad partners,
Yeah.
challenges, and I'm grateful for that. So I always kind of lean back on that whenever I'm like stressed about the agency or whatever. I just remember like I've got someone next
Yeah,
to
yes,
me that
yes,
can help
yes.
me.
I feel you. Yep, I feel that way about my advisors and some of my investors and our Sacral Sisters community. There's a couple hundred women now in our Sacral Sisters community, and we all provide each other and different support. I call it mindset money marketing. We're all providing something that we bring to the table. Like one of the women, she needed to restructure her trust, and so we had a woman who was a trust attorney. So
Yeah.
we just put each other together. Some women are flipping homes, and they're like, "I don't know where to put my money to make it grow." Okay, well, we have this platform, or we can introduce you to some other opportunities. Or some of the women are going through a divorce, and we're just there to be sisters. And it's nice to have that community and that's one of the reasons why created the podcast is because I was on the road a lot, creating these events. I mean, I wanted to reach more women and create a larger community. And now we're heading out to Europe because there's about a group of 12 women that, want to come into Sacred Sisters as well. And so it's a good journey and it's nice to be able to have those backs for sure. It does get very lonely. I took the plunge to Puerto Rico to be island slower living, but then also the structuring your business entities here and your personal entities, zero cap gains,
Yeah.
100% deferred, 50% back on tax when you export services and so but yeah, it gets lonely. Yeah, for
It
sure.
is, it is. I will say though, having like a women's only networking group is such a relief. It's such a breath of fresh air. I do a lot of networking and I mean, I love our men. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, I'm not a feminist by any means. We just weren't given a seat at the table. Inside my Sacral Sisters data room, I have a women's historical moments of women's financial rights. And women weren't even allowed to say the word business at one point in our lives
Yeah.
unless our brother or our fathers like gave the okay. Right?
Yeah.
It's just like we haven't had a seat at the table as long as they have, and yeah, it's okay. We're not
Yeah.
feminists, but we just, we support each other differently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I feel just so much more like warmth and deeper connection. And I think that that's what you've been building with Circle Sisters is so neat
Thank
because
you.
it's not just like business. We're just talking about business, like
No.
it's your whole life. Because I think
Yes.
that's the thing about prosperity is that it's not like you have your work and then you have your outside of work and it all kind of melds together. And so it's about like making it all work better for you, and I
Mm.
think you can't ignore any of it.
No. You're there's always this moment of bringing it personal and your business because it's like if you're going throughout life authentically, then it's going to translate and go in between both. but then also learning how to know when to not bring any type of heavy or traumatic experiences, trauma, I like to call, because we're always going to get those triggers into the business. So there's a fine line of that too. Having open dialogue. Like, I'm so intuitive at this point. Like, my team members, they laugh because I'll be like, I can hear the frequency in their voice, even if we're not
Yeah.
working together, that they need a break for
Mhm.
20 minutes, or they need something, or right, or if I notice that the energy with them is off, I'll be like, all right, we're stopping for a few minutes. Everybody take a break. You
Yeah.
know, and or I'll ask them, I'm like, "Do you need a break?" And they'll be hesitant, and I'm like, "You really need to voice this." Like,
Right,
I'm
right.
here for it. Like, I'd rather us have a healthy 15-30 minute break than put in the energy of whatever and or lack thereof. And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
I
I'm
always
I'm all about.
I always tell the team, like, if it like, 10 minutes isn't actually gonna make a difference. Like, everything seems really urgent all the time, but 10 minutes will not make or break this thing. So,
No.
if you're stressed, like, if you get information, you're like, the client is upset, and it's like a stress thing, like, it's scary, and you're frustrated, and you immediately wanna solve it. I'm always say just take 10 minutes, go for a walk, clear your head. I
Yeah.
also think that for the most part, if you're working late at night, nothing you can do late at night can't be done better in the morning with like a fresh head. It'll take you 10 minutes in the morning, what will take you 30 minutes at night. So just
Yeah.
like go to sleep, like take a
Yeah, yeah.
beat.
Yeah,
There's
understood.
nothing, we're not doing brain surgeon here. There's nothing urgent.
Yep. Yeah, and understood. That's for sure. Now, you just invested in your first home,
I
correct?
did. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah, yeah.
did.
So,
Yeah.
is that part of also your journey of stepping into your prosperity?
Yeah, I think that I mean, I'm a millennial, and so there was, like, a period of time where I was like, "I'll never buy a house," I have all this
Wow.
you
Yeah.
know, it's I really felt that I wasn't set up to do it, and
Okay, understood.
I think the pandemic kinda changed a lot of my own mindset because it forced everyone to just, like, stop where they were, slow down, and for me, it was like, "Okay, like, let me, like, really, like, assess where I'm at," and I was like, "I could actually, like, now that the agency is starting to do better, like, I could actually save enough, and I could actually do this."
Yeah.
And so I saved for a couple of years, and yeah, because it for me, buying the house wasn't just like making this big purchase for this asset. It wasn't just like, now I have this, this like asset that I can take with me. It was more like, I'm gonna buy a place that I fully own, that I can make my own. It's gonna be in a place that I love, and I'm gonna surround myself. I'm gonna place myself into an environment that I know I can thrive. So I'm not just like
Mm,
buying the cheapest house or buying the fanciest, buying a place where I know I'll live for a long time, and that is surrounded with people and an environment that like really helps me. And it's
yeah,
been really cool to see that come
I
into
love that.
fruition.
That is beautiful. And ladies and gentlemen, her wallpaper is done by her as well. It's not even wallpaper. When she first came on with me before, it just stood out to me. I thought it was so unique. I thought it was wallpaper, but what is it?
So I painted the wall with a matte it was a satin color,
Yeah.
and then I painted over it with a stencil of
Yeah.
the gloss version of the same color, so it's, like, shiny on a more matte, so it's, like,
That's
subtle, but it looks kinda cool in the light.
Yeah, it's just it's brilliant, but it matches you as a person, both your personal and business life. It's that
Yeah,
creative, it's moody, it's really lovely. I'm very proud of you because
thank you so
yeah, I
much,
know I
I
know it takes
appreciate
a
that.
lot of effort to come into that, owning, right? And
Yeah.
knowing. So
Yeah,
that is amazing. And
yeah.
then now that you're, having invested in your first asset, which isn't just an asset, it is like your sanctuary.
Mhm.
What is as a owner of a company, what is your next, moves in diversifying your future and growing that prosperity? What does that look like for
Yeah.
you?
Well, within the agency, we're exploring incubation for trying because we found is that we're really good at making other people money. So like we'll have these companies come in with these products, and we'll we love working with them, and we want to
Yeah.
continue working with founders and CEOs and to grow their marketing. But we also are business people ourselves, and we're entrepreneurs. And with the advancements in like vibe coding and
Mm-hmm.
how much easier it is to spin up ideas,
Mm-hmm.
we're starting to incubate our own ideas and see, okay, like let's try to make something using our resources and what we've learned as an agency
Yeah.
and then share that with our team. So if our team comes to us with an idea, they're part of the process.
I love.
Um, so that's kind of our focus right now going into the next year. Personally, I mean, I think I'm focused really solely on building community like within my town because
Mm-hmm.
that gives me a lot of purpose
Oh
and
yeah.
it gives me a lot of safety too, to know that
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by people who like know me and care about me and I care about them and they'll show up
Mm-hmm.
for me and I get to show up for them. And that gives me so much purpose outside of work. So when things in my work are not going the way I need them to go, I have an outlet of positivity that kind of like
Mm-hmm.
brings me back and allows me to kind
Yeah.
of rebalance
I
myself.
love that. What is? I don't want to tell people exactly where you live, but what's the closest major city?
I live right outside of Atlanta.
Right outside. Okay.
Yeah.
North or south or east or west?
I'm east of Atlanta.
East. East. Okay, got you. Is
Yeah.
that the airport way or is
So
that south?
airport is more south, but
South.
I'm,
That's right.
like, some kind of, like, southeast of Atlanta.
Okay,
So,
there you go.
where, like,
Yeah.
Stone Mountain is? It's kind of that
Yes. Yeah.
general area.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I told you last time. I have a lot of women in Atlanta. That's what we
Mhm.
talked about.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. I will be going through there again soon. Because I have to do another Psycho Sister event there, but I'll definitely start connecting you with
Yeah,
that
and let me know. I'd
community.
love to come to your Sequel Sister event too. I'd be
Yeah,
interested.
but then also just connect with the other women. One of the other women, she took her and her husband's roofing and construction company from nothing to 25 million in
Oh,
5 years.
that's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Roofing
so
is such a brilliant business to be in because, 1, everybody needs new roofs, like, especially when you're in certain areas where there's, like, a lot of rain or a lot of weather,
yeah,
and so everybody needs it, and so if you can be an honest roofer and you can start to get a few good customers, I mean, people it just, like, spreads,
got
like
the government contracts are where it gets you
yes.
too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even and like they're still accepting at airports like women and multicultural led bids. So you could bid on just doing the drywall for a new airport
Yeah.
reno, and it's golden. So
Huge.
I'm investing in women. I'll be investing in women led construction companies and things like that, and infrastructure where where they're crushing it and getting those
Yeah,
bids
yeah.
because government contracts, they're consistent. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And to go back real quickly. So I just was like having an idea when you're talking about incubating or creating inside of your agency for your internal own ideas. Is this like spinning up a product and marketing it? Is it a physical product yeah, a physical product?
Yeah. So
Like
it
a
it really depends. Like, what we're trying to do is pull the strongest ideas. So because we've worked with so many consumer-facing brands, we've worked with a lot of SaaS, we've worked with franchises, we kind of have a good sense of, like, what margins look like, and so if it's something that we can create that we see a lot of potential for, we'll take the time to build it. I think I lean more towards, SaaS because those are a lot cheaper, a lot less overhead.
yeah.
But if there's a really good idea for a consumer product that doesn't have a ton of competition, that,
Yeah.
maybe there's like a trend we can take advantage of,
Mhm.
that we have some kind of connection to test it, like, we're very open to it. It's,
I
which
love
I
that.
think is, like, fun, I feel
Yes.
like we're, like it feels like we're, like, young again, like we're in college,
Yeah, yeah.
how big the world can be.
Yeah, just turning little dreams into realities. Those are that's the fun part. I love building up brands. I've helped launch brands from a client would come to me and they had like a healthy mixed juice, like fresh juice brand, but it was called Farmers Mixes. So you could use it as like a mocktail or use it in your cocktail or use it as a fresh juice. It was
Yeah,
like, but it had a unique flavor. It wasn't just like your everyday regular fresh juice. There was some unique
right.
things in there. And so he came to me and it was like I helped him source the bottling and the packaging and the lids and the colors, and I did all the design branding for the branding and the ingredients, and then we got them into all the local grocers in South Florida, and then I helped energy food protein energy bar called Shanti bars. They were in Whole Foods in Florida for a while, and we did their commercials. Went back at before there were the type of videos that you can do now, which is really
Yeah.
easy. But this was when drones just came out, and girls
Yeah.
on the bicycles with the the
Mhm.
bars in her basket, and it just the amount of effort it took to film and create and like little trailers for each bar. Not that marketing agencies or brands have it easier these days, but it's definitely a lot easier.
Yeah. It's just very different. Like, it's like, there's so much more noise that you have to, like, push through, but it is a lot easier to, like, produce something. It's just about
Yes.
having the most now it's more about, like, coming up with a better idea, coming up with a more
Right.
creative
I
idea.
like collaborating with AI to take my ideas and then see what they spin out. And then I will then take theirs, take some pieces of what they did, then add my touch again to it. So it still has some human touch.
Yeah, yeah.
You should listen to a podcast I did before this one. She owns Sandbox Communications, and she's helping not only for them like implementing, not only doing like marketing and so forth for small companies. She's in Virginia for small businesses, but she's also helping them implement AI to just do some more automation on their own side of their marketing and so forth. So yeah. Well, Courtney, thank you for being on Plunge into Prosperity today. And for everyone listening, find Courtney and the Right Left Agency at, correct me if I'm wrong, rightleftagency.com. Yes. And listen to her podcast, How They Scaled It, on Spotify and Apple, correct? All right. And connect with her on LinkedIn. Courtney, spell out your name for everyone so that
Yeah,
they can
it's
find you.
Courtney Wasserburger. So Courtney spelled like how you think it is, and then Wasserburger is Wasserburger, like a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I wonder if you could even create your own pop-up burger brand.
I know.
Because what's Mark
Mark
Wahlberger?
Wahlberg,
The
Wahlburger. Yeah.
Wahlburgers. So I'd love to have you on our next Sacral Sisters webinar. That's aside from the podcast, I think, and introduce you to some of the women there. I think what we're building would resonate with you. And maybe I could get introduced to your partner as well and have her on the show.
Of
And
course.
with what you're seeing in the market and so forth, let's connect after this. And to our listeners, if today's conversation moved something in you, act on it. The plunge is the point. I'm Brandy Koloski. And whatever you need to do and wherever, subscribe, get your podcasts, and as always, plunge in. Happy Friday, and have a prosperous rest of your week, everyone. Thanks for plunging into sacred wisdom and regenerative wealth with us. If your soul and your portfolio just got a glow up, hit subscribe on YouTube, Amazon, Spotify, and Apple. Share it with your crew. Tag us on social and join the movement at plungeintoprosperity.com. I'm Brandy Koloski. Catch you on the next plunge.